All right, this is the TNT Properties Real Estate Podcast, episode number 1.
Ooh.
Yeah, you like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This episode, we're going to talk about, we have Jeremy Luckenbill as our guest host, co-host of the podcast. Co-host. Thank you for being here, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And so today, we're going to kind of go into detail of what to expect from the TNT Properties Real Estate Podcast and how that differentiates from the Asset Hero Property Management Podcast, because they're going to be two separate things and we're going to talk about different topics. So we'll start by clearly defining the two companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jeremy, why don't you give us a little breakdown of what Asset Hero Property Management is?
Asset Hero Property Management is strictly going to be a management-based company as far as the properties we currently have and we take on. They're going to be in charge of the day-to-day management aspects of it, and that's pretty much it. And it'll break down to the maintenance coordination and things of that sort, and kind of the collection of rent and dealing with the tenants, and just kind of the day-to-day that goes with property management.
Yeah, so collecting rent, the financials of that. So our owner clients will have access to view all the financials. The tenants will have access to view their financials. And basic management functions for Asset Hero. So TNT Properties Real Estate, on the other hand, is going to be more focused on real estate sales and leasing, so more commission-based work. Mm-hmm. Although property management an argument can be made that it is also commission-based work. But we're just going to not make it so complicated. We're just going to do leases and sales for TNT Properties, and we're going to talk about leases and sales specifically with investment properties. Mm-hmm. So we will help first-time home buyers, but our specialty is investment property. So why leases and sales together? Because I believe that they're actually really similar. So most people don't think that. Actually, there's a stereotypical thought process with realtors, because most realtors are sales. That's what they do. They buy and sell real estate. That's when someone thinks realtor, that's what they think. They don't think property management. They don't think leasing. So the stereotypical, feel that we get from other realtors is that property management and leasing is beneath them. No. I do sales. Sales is where the money is, right? That's what they think. And it is. You can be very successful with sales and make lots and lots of money. What they don't realize is how much leasing, how much more leasing can be than sales. Mm-hmm. It is very similar, but it's also very different. But it's still the act of showing a house and making commission by someone wanting to live there.
Right.
So where they.
Let me pose a question. Is another reason why you would lump sales and leasing together is because you have to be a licensed realtor in order to do both?
That is correct. You also have to be licensed to do property management on some things. Mm-hmm. To manage properties, yes, you got to be licensed. However, the individual job functions that management requires are not necessarily a requirement to be licensed of it. Like certain things like signing paperwork, mm-hmm. or going back to leasing and stuff, to show a house, you've got to be licensed. Right? So, yes. So the TNT Properties side of things is 100% full. You got to be licensed, right? So, for those of you who are listening and watching, if you're dealing with TNT Properties Real Estate, you're dealing with the licensed realtor, or broker. So, broker.
Not licensed.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's true. That's 2022 goal.
Yes. So leasing is where it's at in this town, though, for real. So, there are sales, and that's, that's very traditional to me, and it is something that we should incorporate because it does bring on additional business and whatnot. But leasing is where for a real estate agent is where the money is. So
on a more consistent basis.
Yes, that's correct. So, but so sales, leasing, so anything with advertising, the lease process, start to finish. Excuse me, for tenants, whether that be doing the application process, getting approved, signing the paperwork, everything up to the point of the move-in day.
Mm-hmm.
TNT Properties will be the point of contact for the tenants and for the owners. Again, everything up to that move-in day. So then Asset Hero will step in. Excuse me. So yeah. So pretty exciting. I think we're going to have a lot of things to talk about in terms of different topics with TNT Properties and the sales in real estate world and leasing. Make ready season is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Winter is coming. And
the dead of summer.
Yes, in the dead of summer. Make ready season is upon us. It is June, so July is when it really hits hard. So the leasing status things actually drop significantly. So and it's more maintenance and property management focus at that point. So,
but to me, what is kind of an interesting thing that I've kind of picked up on, just being around Adam, who's the sales coordinator for TNT Properties. He also does the inspections with me, and listening to him field sales calls, and it seems like the sales are actually starting to ramp up while leasing is tapering off. So even though there's an influx, it's always like they're both they both kind of coincide. It's just their ebbs and flows kind of balance each other out.
Yes, that's exactly right. When sales is high and doing really well, leasing is typically down, and they're vice. They stay opposite of each other. So that is an accurate assumption. So, but that right now we are in a seller's market, which means sales is way up high. So. Typically, but on the flip side of that, up until this point, leasing has been relatively busy. So, but inevitably with the make ready season, it'll die down just because the students aren't here in College Station. So, but yeah, it's always a flip flop. So, and something we've learned too is the sales actually invites those investors to continue business with us and with management services. So for a while we kind of steer clear of sales, but now we're kind of jumping into it. So
and it's honestly it seems like it's a good pitch, especially to a first time investment property buyer. Like you can pitch the whole thing to them and present this, hey, this is a great investment opportunity. And I don't want to start using lingo that I don't know, but then the transition, and as soon as we close on this, it's like we can immediately start taking over management of it too, and seeing how all of that kind of works together, just in the flow of the process, and then I even think being able to kind of explain it to these first-time buyers, even people that have bought investment properties before, but it's like, hey, right now you're going to be dealing with, our agents through TNT Properties. If you want us to take over management, it's going to be taken over by Asset Hero, and it kind of allows that. It doesn't allow for a gray area as far as the sales aspect of it and the management aspect of it. It kind of makes it more black and white.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's clear and defined. What does Asset Hero do? Asset Hero, property management. What does TNT do? Well, it says sales and leasing. It's pretty clear, right? So, and we want that. We want the simplicity of it. but also the functionality of it as well. So we have dedicated people in each section, each company, and they have their set duties on what they do, which makes them an expert in their arena. So which in turn allows the customer or client to have a better experience. So I think it's a great thing too. And that's not to say that we don't have experience in sales. That's complete opposite. We just never did it for third party. So I'm an investor myself. We have a few investors here in office, and we buy and sell real estate all the time. It's just, we've never expanded into the third party sales stuff up until recently. So we're really excited about that, to give that a better overall experience with our clients. So,
and I find it pretty cool that one of our agents was actually talking to an investor that lives in New Jersey, and it's like the fact that it can be so wide reaching, like it's not local. And I mean, the guy knew what he was talking about because he's dabbled in investment properties before. But I mean, it's the fact that somebody from New Jersey is understanding the investment property market, such as College Station, like how just consistent and almost, I don't want to say booming it is, but it's a market that's just always going to be there because of Texas A&M. And it was just kind of seeing how far reaching that is. It was just cool to me, and like hearing the kind of knowledge that he had, but then still asking questions to the agent he was talking to, and just the back and forth with that. And
nothing's 100% recession proof, but College Station Bryan is as close as you can get because of A&M. So the students will always be here. There'll always be a demand for real estate because of the students, and the jobs that A&M brings. Not just A&M, but the other companies that all the restaurants and factories and everything else that's here. Like it's difficult for recession to really hit it hard, right? So I mean, it still can, of course, but it it allows a unique investment opportunity for real estate investors, because the rent always appreciates, the property always appreciates. So you're building equity, and you have significant cash flow. It's just kind of a win-win. So plus you're providing homes for people, which always makes me feel good. So, and I personally like to renovate properties, so I like to make an old property look new again. But that's a different podcast. So but yeah. So in this podcast, in TNT, I think we should expand, not in this episode, but expand on different types of investments, different types of buying distressed or buying new, but turnkey. Single family versus multifamily, different terms on cash return on investment, or just a return on investment, the 1% rule, the 2% rule, the 50% rule. We can go into details of all those things. So if you are a newer investor, or even a seasoned investor, I recommend you go to biggerpockets.com to take a look at that forum. It's like a social media platform for investors. It's a really great way to get involved with the community and meet other people out there. You can also reach out to us and via email or our online chat system. You go to tnt-properties.com and just ask any question you can. We're an open book, so we're here to help you with your investment journey. So what else?
With TNT Properties and Sales and Leasing,
the idea here is just to give the listeners / viewers an idea of what to expect. So when leasing season hits, which is right after turn, the pre-leasing season, September, October, that's going to be a fun topic because talk about how the pre-leasing season is complete unique experience for Bryan-College Station compared to somewhere like Denver, Colorado, right? Like property management or leasing is it's just not the same. So we really are in our own little bubble. So we'll talk about stuff like that, in the demand and what students look for, what families look for.
I will say pre-leasing was definitely a concept I knew nothing about until I got here and started talking to the people here, and they were like, yeah, we're doing all these showings, but it's not until the following year. And I'm like, it's like, really, like, things go that fast? And it's like, yeah, there are certain properties that we have to start showing almost immediately after they get a move in because they're going to go so quick.
Right, and that's not something that we want to do necessarily by choice, but that's just the demand. That's like, it's funny because someone will pick up keys and not even a month later, we're getting flooded with calls, people wanting that house for 11 months from now. Like, they're like, no, I want to live there. Like, I want to sign a lease right now. It's like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, we have our protocols and what we do, which we can go into detail later, but that's truly what happens, and it's kind of remarkable. And crazy. It's just crazy. So we'll have all of our leasing agents, and their schedules will be booked solid all day, every day. So it's fun times. So, but I think we'll have plenty of things to talk about. So I'm excited about this podcast. So again, you guys have all our contact information. If you have any other questions, just reach out to us anytime. I guess until then, we will see you next time.
Adios.